Hi, my name is Izik Levy, and today I'm going to be showing you how I make a flame-worked glass monster pendant slash necklace. This is something that I'm known for and that I really enjoy making, so I'd love to take you through the steps of how I do this. The first step is to heat up some Moretti or soft glass. It's glass that melts faster than Pyrex and is commonly used in bead making and jewelry. You can see I'm using an oxygen and propane torch. And here I am wrapping the soft glass, the Moretti, around a steel rod known as the mandrel. Later on, when the bead is cool, this will be removed and it will leave a hole which will be where the chain goes through on the necklace. I'm using this tool that I created. It's a piece of graphite with a handle, so nothing fancy, but it helps out. It helps out a lot. I can really shape and widen the bead and cool down certain spots. Pretty much any tools can be used, metal as well. Next I'll be using a knife. It really helps when trying to get into small spaces and carve details in. Next I'm going to start warming up some white, opaque white glass to be the eyeballs of the monster, because every good character needs a great face and really vibrant eyes. So in case I don't have any thinner pieces of white laying around, I can stretch out the white as I'm doing here using the end of the mandrel, and then I'm going to tap it down and leave some marks for the eyes. I do the eyes in two stages. The first is to put a white dot. As you'll see, I'm putting one on each side, trying to keep them even. It takes a lot of control of the material and the heat to get them just right. And there's no substitute for practice. When I was working on making the eyeballs, with just practicing, I would make many on one bead just for the experience. Now I'm adding some black. That's going to be the center of the eye. And I find this is like the soul of the character is really in its face. You can really get a sense of what the personality is through the eyes, through the expression. So it's very important to get it just right. Of course, rocketoro.com is my website for you can see my robots and other characters on there. So as I introduce every color, I have to warm up the rod. If I stick it in too quickly into the flame, it will crack, and that's not good. Sometimes it pops and little bits go flying everywhere. That's not what I want. So I do everything very gradually, very slowly, and I keep the glass warm in between so it's a consistent temperature. It takes a lot of patience to do this, even though the piece generally comes out fast. A lot of people ask how long it takes to make a piece. Generally it can take up to an hour, but you have to be very careful the whole time not to let it cool down too much. Here I'm adding some light gray, and this is going to become like the collar of the monster, like a bit of a neck. I like working in stages and layering colors. You'll also notice that the colors that I'm using right now are opaque. This is not really well known. People assume generally that most glass is transparent, but it comes in opaque colors as well, and they're really quite beautiful, and it can really make the transparent colors pop out even more. It just depends on the design. This video is shortening the process a bit. I actually spent more than half an hour on this piece, but you'll see it here in 9 minutes. So I've cut out a few bits, such as adding eyebrows and some other detailing to the face. Here I'm adding what is going to be the lower part of the body. Now the shape of this monster is kind of like a sea creature. It's going to be a bit like an octopus, but with fewer limbs. Definitely going to have some suction cups at the end. I think that's pretty important. Now I have a transparent gray. which is a really nice dark transparent color, and that's going to be used for the feet or the legs or the tentacles, depending on how you look at it. And as always, I work one stage at a time. I do one limb at a time, just gradually. This video was shot in 2008, and at that point I was working with glass for about 6 years. It's actually really interesting to watch myself work. A friend of mine shot this video, but I don't usually get to see myself from the side, or from the front in this case. There's a lot of things that I do that I'm not actively thinking about as I'm working. It almost becomes intuitive after a while, especially when you've made quite a few pieces in a similar technique. With the monsters, I try to keep them all original. Each one is completely different. I don't like to repeat myself. I do like a good challenge. And of course, if anyone out there has any suggestions or requests, or even a challenge, a little drawing they've done, and they want to see if I can make it out of glass, I would love the opportunity. So please go ahead and send it to me. It's always fun to interact with the people who appreciate and like my work. You can see I like working on detailed things, so whatever you got, throw it at me. I'd love it. And the whole time I'm working, I'm keeping the piece warm. This is so important. I can't stress it enough that it has to be kept at a consistent temperature. If it gets too cold, it will crack and the piece is ruined. So even if I've been working on it for an hour, there's nothing I can do once it starts cracking. So you got to be really careful. Now I'm adding some more details. These are like little suction cups that are going around the head and I say limbs, but they can be tentacles or whatever you'd like to call them. This particular piece, when it was done, I shaped it so it could stand on its own. So it can actually stand on its feet, or it could be worn as a necklace. This is not a design I repeat, so like I said before, it's just a one-off. And I try to make it as fun as possible. As much personality as I can pack into it. You can see I make the feet kind of like a starfish. I spread them out, and as I get closer to completing the design, I bring them together and start shaping them. This is just so they don't stick to one another while I work on them. It makes a big difference. And here I'm adding a few more details. And there you have it. If you have any questions, just let me know. Please check me out on Facebook and Twitter and Daily Booth, and of course on IzikLevy.com. Thank you.